Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers are dying. 'Tis you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. 'Tis I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And if you come when all the flowers are dying, if I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying. You'll lean and say, Anna May, there for me, and I shall hear those soft you tread above me, and o'er my grave will warmer, sweeter be. Then you will kneel and whisper that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me.
Well, good morning to you all. My name is Robbie Holt and I'm an authorised celebrant and I, along with the caring team from Tobin Brothers, led by George, welcome you to this ceremony today to honour and celebrate the life of Margaret Elaine Roberts. Before we begin though, if I could ask you all just to do a quick check to make sure that phones are off or on silent for the duration of the service. Thank you. And after the service today, you're warmly invited to join the family here at the chapel, just out in the foyer. Stay and have a cuppa with them, share some of your memories. And then that will then be followed by a burial at Faulkner Memorial Park, at the Northern Memorial Park. And you're all welcome to attend. So we will be leaving here to make our way there at around about 12 o'clock or just after. And of course, you're welcome to either meet us there or you can follow the hearse. If you do happen to follow in the cortege, please have your lights on so that the car knows who's following along. Thank you. And so, on behalf of Sharon, Lynn and Raymond, they thank you for being here today to offer your love, support and respect for a much-loved lady. They feel so blessed to be surrounded by their family at this sad time. Sharon's partner, Hines, and Margaret's grandchildren, Shane, Renee, Michael and his partner, Stephanie and Paige. It's an important day when we gather together to honour a life and to mourn a death. Time stands still for just a moment as we're here to acknowledge that someone has touched our lives. They've left an imprint on our hearts and our souls are eternally changed. Of course, grief can be different for everyone, and there is no timeline for grief. There's no template for healing and no goalposts to follow. There's only our hearts letting us know in our own way, in our own time, when it is time to heal. I had the opportunity to talk with the family and they shared their memories of Margaret with me, and it's now my pleasure to share just a snippet of her story with you. Well, today we gather to remember and celebrate the life of Margaret, and she was a woman who brought light, love and laughter to everyone that she met. She was born on March the 21st, 1941. She was part of a large family, one of 13 children. Yes, 13. Her parents, Joan and Keith Laycock, were blessed with not just one, but 3 sets of twins, including Margaret. But sadly, Margaret's twin did pass away at birth. Margaret and her younger siblings were born in Melbourne, although some of their older siblings were born in Burnie in Tasmania. And the family made their home on Major Road in Faulkner, a place filled with both challenging and heartwarming memories. Times were tough and life was hard, but the Laycock family was rich in love, and this is something I spoke to Pat, and it was something that she confirmed, that yes, they were close. And despite their struggles, they always found the fun in each other's company and in the simple things in life. Growing up, Margaret attended St Mark's Catholic School in Faulkner, where she developed a deep and abiding love for her faith. She left school early, likely just in Form 1, but her strong connection to the church remained a constant throughout her life. Her faith guided her actions, and she never uttered a harsh word about anyone, embodying the kindness and grace of a true angel. Margaret was both beautiful on the inside and on the out, and everyone who met her loved her instantly. She had a magnetic personality that drew people to her, especially when she went out with her sister Pat. Margaret was popular and always seemed to have many suitors vying for her attention. And she had a way of making everyone feel special, and her warmth and her generosity certainly knew no bounds. Margaret then worked on Sydney Road as a process worker, and over the years she found work at various locations, including a toothpaste factory. Later she worked behind the bar and in the kitchen at the Reservoir Hotel, and then at the Pepper Mill, a restaurant on Sydney Road. And her strong work ethic and friendly demeanour made her a beloved colleague and friend to many. It was a chance encounter with a young man by the name of Herbert that led to a lifelong bond. Margaret saw him walking past her bedroom window. They struck up a conversation, and the rest, as they say, is history. He was from Castlemaine and he was working as a welder for a truck company, making trailers and tankers. And they dated for a while, and soon their love blossomed into a family. Margaret and Herbert were married when she was 7 months pregnant with their first child, Sharon. It was a ceremony at a church on the corner of Bell Street in Coburg. They bought a house on May Street in Glenroy and continued to grow their family with the births of Lynn 2 years later and then Ray 5 years after that. But life wasn't always easy for Margaret, and she did face difficult times, including a tumultuous marriage. But despite the hardships, Margaret's spirit never wavered, and she was a devoted mother who always made her home a welcoming place for friends and family alike. Margaret loved to entertain and made everyone feel at home. She had a knack for bringing people together, whether it was just for a cup of coffee, freshly made sandwiches, chips, lollies, more. And the joy of sharing good times with loved ones, and her home was certainly a haven of warmth and love and good fun, a true reflection of the beautiful person that Margaret was. She also had a great love for nature, particularly for magpies, and was famous for feeding them in her yard. And they seemed to know her well as also. She also loved meerkats and blue wren birds. And I know that Lynn bought her a little meerkat stuffed animal, and that's going to stay with Lynn now. A small but meaningful reminder of her mum. As a mother, Margaret was always supportive of her children. Sharon and Lynn took ballet lessons, and Margaret was their biggest cheerleader, never missing a performance and always encouraging them to pursue their passions. She also loved her grandchildren dearly and was present at the births of Shane and Renee. And in fact, Sharon told me that for Shane's birth, Heinz picked up Margaret and they were driving at such a great pace to make it in time. When they went over the train line, I think they caught a bit of air, landing with a thump on the other side. But they made it safely, so it added a little bit of a thrill to the journey. But I know that Margaret did take great joy in her grandchildren's lives. She also had a very close-knit group of friends, many of whom have sadly passed away. However, a handful of special friends remain, including Helen, who I know is here with us today. And Helen shares a special bond with Margaret and her son Ray. And there was a time when Margaret was concerned about Helen because she hadn't been answering her phone. So she decided she should go down and see if Helen was okay. And when she arrived, she did find Helen had collapsed at home. And it was Margaret and Ray's quick thinking that helped get Helen the medical attention that she needed. And from then on, the bond between Margaret and Helen only strengthened. And I'm happy to say that Helen's with us here today, but I don't know where she is. Where's Helen? Hello, Helen. I know you had a special relationship with her. Well, Margaret also had a strong sense of adventure and she loved to travel. She once moved to Adelaide at the young age of 16 to help her sister Claudette, who was unwell. And there was also another memorable family road trip to Adelaide when their little Austin broke down and they had to then take the train. And of course, she cherished her regular family trips to Castlemaine, which were always filled with laughter and love. And later, before Sharon had her children, she and Margaret went on an adventure on a bus tour of Tasmania, creating memories that lasted them their lifetime. Margaret also liked to relax in front of the TV, especially enjoying shows like Days of Our Lives, The Young and the Restless, and of course, The Bold and the Beautiful. And I know that she was looking forward to watching the Paralympics. Of course, not to mention her favourite AFL team, can you guess? Collingwood, the Magpies. And she'd always call out, "Come on, Mags!" Margaret was someone who never missed a celebration or birthday, always giving gifts and cards to everyone. And Sharon often joked with her all the cards that Margaret gave that perhaps she could even open up her own news agency, a suggestion that Margaret agreed with good humour. She wasn't much of a reader though, although I'm told towards the end that she did like to read the death notices in the newspaper. And she found comfort visiting cemeteries, placing flowers on the graves of friends and loved ones. This ritual has been carried on by Renee. I know she finds peace in continuing this tradition. Margaret also had a green thumb and she loved to potter in the garden. Every summer she would plant her petunias, orange and yellow marigolds, which she absolutely loved, and of course her pansies and her roses, creating a beautiful garden that bloomed all year round. She was also a very talented knitter, often making baby clothes for the children in her life and gifting them to friends expecting a baby. She was also an excellent cook, known for her baked spaghetti, her baked potatoes, and her cauliflower in batter. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Toasted cheese sandwiches and delicious roasts, and cooking for her family every night, even when she wasn't feeling well. Her son Ray, who lived with Margaret his whole life, suffered a severe accident in 1991 that left him with brain damage, and he was in a coma for a long time. And it was incredibly hard for Margaret to see her son go through so much pain. But they were there for him every step of the way, supporting him as he learned to navigate a different future. And I know that her daughter Lynn remembers her as a good woman who never swore, and she always remained pure of heart. And she didn't like it when you swore, Lynn. She was easygoing though, and she really didn't have a mean bone in her body, and she was truly an angel amongst us. In 2013, when Margaret lost her husband Herbert, she was devastated, but she continued to show her resilience and her strength. So today, as we remember Margaret, let us take comfort in the love that she shared, and her life was a testament to the power of kindness, resilience, and unwavering faith. And though she's no longer with us, her spirit will live on in our memories and in the love you continue to share in her honour. I'd now like to invite Margaret's granddaughter Paige forward to share some memories with us. I'm going to stand with Paige because this is not an easy thing to do, so just as a little bit of support, come forward, Del. You've got this.
Hello. Oh my God. Hi. I'm Paige. I'm the granddaughter of Margaret Roberts. Before I start, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for letting me come forward to share my memories of Nan, and I'd like to thank everyone who has come to celebrate Margaret's life and to remember how special she was to all of us. As a grandchild of Margaret's, I always enjoyed spending time with Nan, and I always felt joy when I saw her smiling face and bright blue-green eyes whenever we got to see her. But unlike a few of her grandchildren who live close by, my family live in Glenroy, a small country town over 2 hours away from Glenroy. So seeing Nan was always a memorable experience throughout my childhood. I remember always going to see Nan at Christmas time or whenever we were in Melbourne. Like was just said before, Nan always had the table set out with sandwiches, licorice all sorts, coloured popcorn, crinkle-cut chips, and other food and snacks. Every time we would see Nan, she would always talk about my brother Michael and his wife Stephanie's pug, Dexter. Pugs weren't her favourite animal, unlike meerkats and blue wrens, but she always had a love for them, especially Dexter. Nan had seen Dexter a few times, and every time she saw him, she would go absolutely crazy. Here's a funny memory I have. When we celebrated Nan's 80th birthday, she had a very beautiful lacy cake. After we sung and she blew out the candles, she stuck the knife into the cake. And while she was about to cut down on the cake, the phone rang. Nan quickly ran to get the phone while the knife was still in the cake, and the knife started cutting the cake all by itself. I don't think Nan ever remembered it happening after that, but I think it was a funny and very surprising memory. If I had to pick the most special memory of Nan or something I would deeply miss the most is her happy birthday phone calls. When it was someone's birthday in the family, she would always ring them up to sing the happy birthday tune. She also sung the Why Was She Born So Beautiful song, but she always would change the words up and say, because we love you. I couldn't wait to get the phone call when it was my birthday. It would always bring a smile to my face. Even when she got very sick, she would sing the same tune when it was someone's birthday. I was very lucky to have Margaret as my nan, and all her other grandchildren feel the same. Nan was one of my role models, and she has encouraged me to keep doing the things I love doing and keep on going, no matter how tough things may be. Nan, thank you for making all of us here today laugh and smile. Thank you for all the great times we've had with you, and thank you for everything. Margaret may be no longer here, but she'll always be still here in our hearts and thoughts. Her soul is at peace, free and safe from any pain she had when she was living. And now she'll always have her stuffed animal meerkat by her side, holding her close for all eternity. Until we meet again. Thank you.
She didn't need me. She's a superstar. 17 years old. I tell you what, amazing. Good job, Darwin. Well done. And now it's my pleasure to read a poem on behalf of Pat, Margaret's sister, and she's left this here. She's written it for Margaret. To my beautiful sister Margaret, never forget that I love you. In the story of my life, your love is the unwavering chapter of strength and joy that I cherish every day. I'm so proud of you, my sister. I love you now and forever. All my love, your sister Patricia. Beautiful. Thank you, Pat. That was lovely. Well, we're going to take a few moments now to reflect on what Margaret meant to each of you. Think of how she touched your lives, and during this time, remember her as she was. Acknowledge the good times and the difficult times and all the times in between. Think of your journey with Margaret and the experiences you shared as we watch a photo tribute of her life.
brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like a lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. The dream that you dare to, why, oh why can't I,
Give her a clap, folks. Some fabulous memories there, and it's nice to see the pug got in a couple of photos too. All right, well, now please join me reciting the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Well, as we come to the end of this service, it's clear that Margaret was a remarkable woman whose spirit touched you all deeply. Her loving, caring and kind nature extended to everyone that she met. She had an incredibly generous heart and an everlasting love for her family that knew no bounds. Margaret was always there for others, no matter what she was going through herself. Even when she was battling diabetes from the age of 34 and later fighting multiple cancers, she continued to care for those around her. Her strength and her resilience were unmatched, and she never wanted to let go. No matter how tough things got. Over the past 20 years, she faced breast cancer, stomach cancer, bowel cancer, ovarian cancer, and kidney problems. But despite her own suffering, she still worried about her loved ones, showing just how selfless and compassionate she was. What will be missed most about Margaret is her presence in your lives. Ray, of course, will miss the day-to-day conversations and just having her around to talk to, talking about what they're going to do that day. And he'll miss the comfort of her voice and the light and the love that she gave to him. Renee, she told me that she'll miss her grandmother's voice and the sound of her laughter. And for Lynn, the phone calls and that they shared, which were a lifeline for her. She could always turn to her mother to talk about her problems and find peace in her wisdom and her warmth. And I know you'll all miss the cosy jumpers, her beautifully permed hair, and her eyes that seemed to change from green to blue, reflecting the depth of her soul. Her giggle and her laugh were infectious, and they could brighten even the darkest of days. In the end, Margaret was a fighter. She battled sepsis 5 times, and she fought through viruses and the debilitating pain of illness. Even in the nursing home when she couldn't walk or eat, she still fought with everything she had. Ray was by her side holding her hand as she bravely faced the pain that marked her final days at Plumpton Villa and then later at Peter MacCallum Hospital. Despite all she endured, Margaret never lost her spirit, and Sharon shared a beautiful moment from the other night. She was just sitting outside in the backyard and a blue wren appeared. Now, she'd never seen one there before, and yet here it was, just sitting there. Of course, Margaret's favourite bird. It came and sat on the bird feeder, and Sharon was sure it was her mother's way of telling them she was okay and at peace. Margaret's move to Plumpton Villa 5 months ago was a difficult transition, but it was necessary as she struggled to manage at home on her own. Even in those last months, her thoughts were always with her family, her friends, and all those that she loved. And so today, as we say our final farewell to Margaret, we carry with us the lessons she taught us about kindness, generosity, and the power of a loving heart. She was a woman who, despite her own challenges, continued to give to others, never letting go of her compassion and her care. And now, if I can ask you all to stand as we say farewell. Well, of course, thank you all once again for being here to pay your respects, and a reminder that you're welcome to stay and have a cuppa with the family, share some memories, and then later, if you'd like to join us at the burial site at Faulkner immediately following. Well, Margaret was loved deeply by those who knew her, and her memory will continue to live on in the hearts of her family and friends. She was a woman who gave so much to others. She worked hard, she loved deeply, and she cared profoundly for those around her. Excuse me. As we say our final farewell, let us remember her for the remarkable person that she was. To the family, please take comfort in the knowledge that in you a part of Margaret remains and always will. She'll never leave you because you carry her in your hearts. No one can take away those special moments. Farewell to you, Margaret, will hold a special memory of who you were to each of us, and perhaps it will be a thought or a memory of Margaret that you'll treasure. Because those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near, still loved, still missed, and very dear. Thank you.